This cup and saucer were made in Venice in the early 18th century. Since Chinese porcelain was introduced in Europe, people have tried to imitate it. And in Murano, the glass island of Venice, they came very close. Porcelain is white through and through, and white glass has the same characteristics. So it really is very similar to the Chinese porcelain that they try to imitate. In the late 15th and early 16th century, in Venice, they made huge bowls on feet and they painted them with enamels. Some of them in blue, so it really resembled the Chinese porcelain, some of them with many more colors. And in the early 18th century, there was a revival of this white glass, but with new shapes. The techniques were the same, but the shapes were different. And this cup and saucer is a typical shape of the early 18th century. It's called the trembleuse. Trembler is tremble in French. And these cup and saucers, as you can see, the saucer is very deep. So if you put the glass in there, even if you shake, you can still use it. These glass were probably made by glass blowers of the Miotti family. They were famous in the early 18th century for these glasses. And we know of them because of some sign pieces. They had a glass house which was called Al Gesù Murano, at the sign of Jesus in Murano. And a plate in the Victoria and Albert Museum is like this, with the same type of flowers, is signed that way. We know about the dating from another plate that is in Murano, in the Museo del Vetro, which is signed by the same glass house and with the date 1731. See several flowers like roses, wild hyacinths, and others. If you look at the cup and saucer closely, you see that the cup is painted much more precise than the saucer. That is something we see more often, especially in the 18th century. For example, with engraved glasses. The glass itself is engraved by the master engraver, the well-known engraver, for example, Sang, and the cover is engraved by others in a much more crude way. We know of more of these cup and saucers that have the same characteristics.